partisan report. The terrorists don't check our party affiliation, but the facts are the facts, and the fact is we're losing in this fight against ISIS. The foreign fighter travel to the region has increased greatly. 30,000 foreign fighters, 5,000 Western passports. Hundreds of Americans have traveled there. Many have come back, and so the threat to the homeland is real, not only from foreign fighter travel, but radicalization over the internet. And so what we don't have is a strategy.
That was Chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, Congressman Mike McCall, speaking to Andrea Mitchell yesterday about a new congressional report on the spread of ISIS. Joining us now from Denver, former United States Ambassador to Iraq, now Dean of International Studies at the University of Denver, Ambassador Christopher Hill, and MSNBC foreign correspondent Ayman Mohyeldin is here at the table. Ambassador Hill, there's a lot of moving parts, as we all know, in that section of the world in the Middle East, Iraq, Iran, the Kurds, the Turks. But now in Syria, with the insertion of a Russian presence on the ground, what does that speak to in terms of our policy, or, as some would claim, our lack of policy?
Well, frankly, I'm sorry to say, I think it speaks to the latter. I think to some extent the Russians are reading some of the same kinds of reports that we are reading, which is that the fight against ISIS is not going well. And you have to remember, 4 years ago, we said we would not deal with Bashar al-Assad. And, you know, he's a pretty terrible guy. But I think ended up with fighting somebody without fighting in favor of anyone else. And so I think the consequence is you can't replace something with nothing. And I think right now ISIS is in a growing and a stronger position. It doesn't mean it can't be dealt with, but I think there needs to be a much stronger diplomatic side to all this. We need to find someone we're going to support. You know, 20 years ago, we had the Dayton Peace Accords, and I remember in the last week of Dayton, Ambassador Holbrooke and I went in to see Milosevic. We had a map all drawn up. We had a constitution all done. We had an election schedule. We had plans for NATO troops. And that's when we told Milosevic, no, we will not allow the Bosnian Serb leadership under these war criminals to participate in this process. And Milosevic said, oh, why are you doing that? That's terrible. You're going to make these people into heroes. But finally, he accepted it. And I think the problem is we did it here in the opposite way. We said we're not going to deal with certain people, and that was way in advance of having any concept of what the political arrangements going forward would look like. So I think we did it kind of backwards, and I think we're paying for that today.
Ambassador